Yo, what is going on guys, Flashverse here and welcome back to another video on Stargirl, and this will be my review slash breakdown for Stargirl Season 1 Episode 12, which is the penultimate episode of the season, otherwise titled Stars and Stripe Part 1. But before I get into the review and breakdown, however, you guys don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you are aware of more Arrowverse content coming your way. And obviously, spoiler alert in case you guys haven't caught up with Stargirl this season, or if you just haven't watched this episode, you have been warned since I'll be heading into spoilers as I give you guys my overall thoughts on the episode while breaking down the episode bit by bit. Okay, so this episode kicks off with the timer ticking for Project New America as we see that there is 11 hours left until the ISA's plan is functional. Now we have Brainwave telling Jordan that Sportsmaster and Tigress will be sent to obviously kill Pat, Barbara and the rest of his family as well. But we then have Brainwave mentioning what will happen once he has control of all the minds across the country, and that they'll think exactly the ways that the ISA normally do. But we then cut to Courtney and Barbara packing up to obviously leave the house since they are in serious danger as Brainwave has his memories back. And same with Pat and Mike, they head to the garage and Pat is basically about to tell him that the truth, basically that he is S.T.R.I.P.E, but Mike keeps messing around and stuff, so Pat doesn't have the chance to really tell him, but the excuse they use is that they're going camping. Now we have transitions taking place between these two scenes. Now the first one being Tigress is obviously invading the house to kill Barbara and Courtney, and Sportsmaster goes to the garage to kill Pat. Now we have two great fight scenes over here with Courtney facing off Tigress obviously, and during that fight the staff does also come in handy to save Barbara a couple of times as well, and I was surprised because Barbara did survive pretty well against Tigress as well. But in the garage that doesn't go very well for Pat as he is against Sportsmaster, but the two fight scenes were awesome. Now, just as I said in my trailer breakdown, there was no way that Tigress was going to defeat Stargirl, and I was right. And that is the case due to the staff. Obviously, Courtney literally took the staff and blasted Tigress away, knocking Tigress out. But the way Sportsmaster got defeated was just hilarious, with Mike just stabbing him with a screwdriver at Crusher's back, which just made me laugh. I don't know why. It was just funny seeing him use that screwdriver he was messing around with to hurt a supervillain. But Pat then knocks out Sportsmaster, and then he obviously reveals to Mike that this robot is his own creation. And Mike's reaction to seeing S.T.R.I.P.E was pretty good as well. But then we have both Barbara Courtney and Mike Pat leaving the house to obviously head to that new temporary cabin that they'll be staying in for a while. Now Jordan is obviously aware of the failure that Sportsmaster and Tigress had to killing Courtney's family, and he tells Principal Bowen, aka the Fiddler, to take action of this and make sure that Sportsmaster and Tigress don't fail a second time. But speaking of Principal Bowen, we also see her in her office at the school, and she's talking to her son who's obviously been bullied pretty badly. But obviously this is to set up Fiddler Jr., I think, for next season. And they're setting up Isaac taking on the mantle of the Fiddler for season 2. As she talks about Isaac's father, who used to get bullied as well, just like Isaac. And then he did something pretty gruesome and then he became respected after that. But we then cut to Brainwave in Dragon King's lair and he encounters Cindy, aka Shiv. And the two have an argument, and we have Brainwave blaming Shiv for the death of his son as well, and that's obviously due to the fact that she never told Henry about Henry Jr.'s telepathic powers, and obviously Cindy is pretty pissed of the fact that she was called a failed experiment by Brainwave. But I'm interested to see if Cindy will get released next episode. She probably will. I just cannot wait to see what she will do after that. But we then cut to Brainwave and Dragon King, and they're testing the Project New America machine in this new chamber. But this chamber looks very, very X-Men like. I've forgotten the name of the place, that's why I say X-Men like. And it looks pretty damn sick as well, especially when the whole place starts lighting up. Now, there was a huge risk with this machine, and that if it doesn't work, it could potentially kill Henry. But obviously Brainwave doesn't care, and he goes for it, and lucky for him, it works. But visually, this scene was really, really sick as well, especially with all that lightning scattering around the place. It was really cool. But we have Courtney, Pat, Barbara, and Mike go to this temporary cabin. But what was surprising about this is the fact that they have the other JSA members over there as well. So we have Beth, Rick, Yolanda as well. And I was surprised because it is the middle of the night, so how do their parents let them just walk out of the house? But also another thing is that they're technically in trouble as well, so they can't really do anything about it. But we do have the legend himself, Sir Justin, hooking the JSA up with some KFC. So that was a pretty funny scene for me as well. Like he just arrives to that cabin and he just pulls up with the KFC. It just made me laugh. I don't know why. Now we have various stuff taking place in the house where we have Beth and the goggles. And the goggles obviously mentioned that there have been recent energy surges around the area. Probably has something to do with the ISA. But we also have this scene between Mike and Courtney, and Mike talks about how cool it would have been if he would have been the chosen one with the staff. And you could clearly see his jealousy towards Courtney and his father. Come on, you do get it, because who wouldn't be jealous of the fact that your sibling is a superhero and you aren't? But one of the more OMG moments was with Sportsmaster and Tigress, where we have Fiddler enter Pat and Barbara's house, and she talks about the failure they both had, and she says I'm gonna make sure you guys don't fail a second time. So they're gonna do things Fiddler's way, which Sportsmaster and Tigress are obviously not on board with. But Fiddler disses the parenthood between Sportsmaster and Tigress about Artemis, and this is where Tigress just shoots Fiddler with her crossbow and killing her. So this was really how they're getting rid of the more useless ISA members. And as I said, this is to set up the new Fiddler for season 2, which is obviously going to be Isaac. And they do zoom onto the violin after Fiddler dies as well, so that is obviously hinting to the fact that Isaac will soon find that violin and he will become the next Fiddler. Now, more of the funnier scenes was when we had Rick trying to crack the code of his father's journal, and we have Shining Knight trying to help him, and he just obviously doesn't understand, so he's just oh, I'm just gonna clean the toilet, you do whatever. So that also made me laugh. These Sir Justin scenes were really funny, I just don't know why. But we do have this scene between Pat and Barbara, and he explains why he never told Barbara about any of this when they first got married. But Pat also mentions that if he had known about the things that the ISA were planning, the outcome would have obviously been a lot different. And this was a nice talk between the two as well. But obviously we have Rick frustrated with the fact that he's unable to crack the final pieces of code that there's left, and that's just one number left. And then we have Pat mentioning something about Rex Tyler's 66 Mustang, and Rick uses the date of that car to crack the code, and it works. Now we have the goggles of Beth scanning the things that Rick was able to decipher, in which we see this big map of the ISA tunnels, and this is how the JSA planned their attack basically on the ISA, and how they could get various things like S.T.R.I.P.E entering the tunnels, and that was obviously through the rivers. But they also find out what the ISA were planning with the satellites and things like that. Now we have Courtney and S.T.R.I.P.E heading to the river entrance of the bunker, and we have the other JSA members go in from the basement from Cindy's house. And we have Barbara and Beth in the office trying to assist the JSA through comms, and also to learn what the ISA are really planning. Now, while Beth was hacking into the computer and things like that, she's encountered something called the Manifesto, which basically has a list of various good stuff, which makes the JSA question what they're doing. But obviously Beth finds out that that isn't the case, and they're actually trying to take over 100 million people and kill them with their plan. So yeah, the JSA are now pretty motivated to stop the ISA even more than before, because they're about to take control of 25% and kill them. And Barbara finds out that only fully developed minds would get taken over by the ISA. So the kids, basically the new JSA, are totally fine. But we do see in the counter that there's 30 minutes left, but the plan has started, which was pretty surprising because I was expecting it to start when it hits 0, but apparently when it hits 0, more people are gonna get taken over. For this 30 minutes, only some people are taken over. And from the new JSA, we can see that S.T.R.I.P.E, Barbara, and Sir Justin have been taken over by Brainwave, which was a big OMG moment. But obviously many more people within the age of 25 and older will also get controlled over, and some obviously will die. But we then have this ending with S.T.R.I.P.E basically knocking Courtney out, and then we have lights out. But yeah, this was such a great cliffhanger, and I just can't wait to see what's next with part 2 of season 1's finale for Stargirl, as this is really a 2-parter finale. But yeah, this was such a really good episode. Once again, none of these episodes have been bad at all, and obviously there's more to come in part 2, and things are just going to get even more crazier than before. And I just can't wait to see what they have next planned. And for this episode, I will give a 9 out of 10. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. If you guys have enjoyed the video, please give a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about all of this, and also tell me in the comment section down below what you guys think about this episode and various other theories you guys have for part 2. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.